what has changed in your personality and in the way you see the world since you came to Canada 3 years ago?
I think that's a very, very good question because there have been a lot of changes to my personality. And even though I feel like at the core I'm still the same person, there's obviously ways because my environment has changed so much in the same ways I have changed in the ways to see how people perceive me, how I perceive the world, how I want to continue with my future. And I think one of the biggest things is that I've become a lot more ambitious and a lot more passionate. Because especially when I lived in Indonesia, there was a lot of situations where I felt hopeless because the future was so uncertain. The life that I was living in was very stressful and uncertain. And so it was very difficult to find motivation. But then when I moved to Canada and I was suddenly so lucky and privileged to be in a situation where I had so many opportunities around me. I had so many opportunities for self-improvement, so many avenues that I could explore and things, and just even things that I wanted to do for fun. There were so many things that I could do. That was one of the things that definitely made me a lot more passionate. It definitely made me work a lot more harder for what I wanted to do, because when you actually are put in a situation and you start believing that you could do anything and you start believing that things are possible and the future is bright for you, that just changes something in you, and that just changes the way you view the world and how ambitious you become. Because when you're just stuck in darkness and you have no idea what's in front of you, it's difficult to want to move forward. It's difficult to feel motivated. But then when I first moved to Canada and I realized how lucky I was to be in a place where I had so many opportunities in front of me, so many doors I could unlock, it made me a lot more passionate about the things I do. And when I finally got to experience living in Canada and I realized the life that I used to live in Indonesia was so different and so much more difficult. And to think that to this day, I have friends who are living in Indonesia in the same conditions and they don't get to experience the same rights as me. They don't get to experience the same luxuries that I get to experience in Canada. That is one of the things that makes me so much more motivated to advocate for those friends, so much more motivated to be able to follow my passions and to do the things that younger me would have just dreamed about. The younger me would have never even thought would be possible.
I can totally relate to that. Isn't it funny that immigrants like us come to Canada with all this energy and all these dreams, and we see all these opportunities, and then we are surrounded by people who grew up here, who think, oh, life is so hopeless.
For sure.
Oh, sure. I need more help from the government.
Exactly.
Right? I need this and this and this and this. And we're going, oh, no, you can go and grab it all.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest things when I first moved to Canada and I realized all these Canadian teenagers were like, oh, I want to move out of Canada. It's so boring here. There's nothing to do. And my mind was blown because I'm like, I've spent like 5 years of my life trying to get here. And it's like basically the place of dreams, basically. And I'm doing everything I can to explore what I can do. And then there's people that are just so ungrateful. And because they're so unaware of what is going on outside of Canada and they're not told about it. They're not aware of people that are living in situations that are so much more worse, people that would have dreamed to be in their position. And so I think that's one of the things that is so important is that education in awareness and education in advocating for people and to put yourself in the shoes of someone else. I feel like that's important because that it takes you a minute to sit down and reflect about the life that you have, what you're surrounded by, and what other people are surrounded by. Because I feel like it's so easy to fall into this trap where you think about people that are richer than you, people that are more famous than you, more successful than you, and want to wish for that life. But it should be just as easy for you to sit down and think about people who have much less than you, for people who have a lot more difficult lives than you do. And I feel like that's one of the things that makes you much more present in your life, and one of the things that really teaches you a lot about where you are, where you want to go, and what kind of person you want to become.